In this video, we paint some tiny but very epic swords. These are item meeples. They're called item meeples because you can put items in little hands. They come from the game Tiny Epic Quest, which is part of the Tiny Epic series, and we are going to paint the items that they can hold in their tiny little hands. The gentleman over on Watch It Played painted the zombie game, and he recommended getting these alligator clips on sticks, so I found them on Amazon, real cheap. Pop them off the sticks while I paint them just to make it a little bit easier. Before I paint any of these, I soaked them in a bowl of soapy warm water and cleaned off all the finger grease. And I'm going to start with Ghost Gray from Vallejo Game Color because this also works as a brush on primer. You need to have a surface for the later paint to stick to because they don't all stick to plastic. But I didn't want to rattle can prime these. But the Vallejo Game Color line of paints you can use as a primer. So I'm just going to hit all the swords with this. With all the paints I'm using, you need to water them down. All right, this is Army Painter Plate Mail Metal, and I'm going to do this just on the blades. Again, I watered it down a little bit, especially metallic paints can get kind of goompy. And these items don't have a lot of detail, but the detail they have is very good, and I don't want to fill it in with paint. I want it to stay there so that we can use it to give a little contrast later. I'm going to do another sword here just so you can see kind of the process. From here on out though, I'm just going to videotape me doing one sword. When it comes to all the generic colors, the process is the same, but we're just laying on this shiny silvery metallic. All right, here's the first sword, it's dry, and metallic paints have poor transparency, so I'm going to do another thin layer just so I get a nice opaque color to it. Going to use Dwarf Bronze here, and this is going to be for the hilts and the handles. The paint brands don't really matter, so any brown metallic, warm brown metallic will work. This is just the one that I happen to have. Just like the silver paint, I'm going to do a second layer of this on all four swords after I'm done. It doesn't take very long to dry. Once you're done with the fourth sword, the first one will probably be dry, and you can go back and do another layer. For the little orb on the pommel, I'm going to do it by the color of the meeple. So we're going to do Wild Rider Red for the red guy, Uriel Yellow for the yellow guy. We're going to use Scorpion Green for the green guy. That's my brightest green that I have. And we're going to use Enchanted Blue for the blue. Again, the brand doesn't matter, just a nice bright saturated color to match the meeple. These I'm going to do with just one coat because these colors have good coverage. And I'm just going to hit the little orb on the pommel. I am going to come back later and do a very tiny detail on the hilt with the same colors. Like the metallics, I am watering these paints down a little bit before I apply them, and you may see me unload the brush on my finger. I don't want to have too much on here because I don't want it to glump and add a texture to it. I want it to be a nice smooth coat. This green is a little watery. When I put it on the pommel, it's fine. Later on, when I try to hit the piece on the hilt, it doesn't do so well. This is Nuln oil. It is a black wash. And a wash is a special type of paint that has a very low surface tension and is great for getting into recesses. And I'm just gonna take this and paint it very carefully into this line along the sword. And it'll dry in there and darken that, and it'll have some nice contrast on the blade so that it won't look just so flat. A little bit of this goes a long way to make things very nice. This is a flesh wash. It is a reddish brown. It's kind of warm. I'm going to put this over the bronze bits. This is going to make the little etchings on the hilt really stand out, and then the handle itself will stand out more. And just putting these in there, these take a while to dry. They could be up to 30 minutes in some cases, so I'm going to let these guys sit a little bit. All right, this is Runefang steel. It is a bright silver. I'm going to take this and just go along the edges of the blade so it kind of looks like the light is glinting off the edges and the tip. I'm going to do this on all 4 swords. I did both shades and this on all 4 of the swords. Finishing touch, I'm going to take the color of the pommel of the meeple and try to paint it over the little triangle in the middle. I think the green paint I used was a little too thin for this. If I did it again, I would use a thicker green paint. And here we go. Didn't take very long, and just a little bit of paint and a little bit of wash, and I think these look pretty good and they'll look nice on the table. All right, that's how I hobbied today. If you'd let me know how you hobbied today down in the comments, that'd be great. Come back tomorrow. We're gonna do some shields.